welcome to the beautiful Snake River. This is the Snake River that most of you are familiar with if you watched my channel since the beginning of it. You know, this is where I do a lot of my multi-species fishing. This is the river I grew up on. And so today we're back down here because it's July, it's summer. And when it's summer, it's just natural for me with how I was raised to go hit the Snake River. So got my new rig parked under the shade, right under the bridge, because out there in the sun, it's hot. So we're just gonna temporarily park here. We can't camp here. So we're just here to do a little bit of fishing under the bridge before we go to another spot to go and fish for some bait. So the goal for this trip is to catch channel catfish, and one of the best times to target channel catfish up here in the state, Washington, is the middle of summer. So that's exactly why we're down here on the Snake River. Snake River is known for channel catfish. And even though the Snake River is known for channel catfish, I'm not the best at catching catfish. So we might not even catch any catfish, but you can't catch them without trying. I do have my bucket of worms that I dug out of my mom's garden here, but we're gonna save the worms for night fishing and like bait fishing for like perch or bluegill. If you have a rocky shoreline, it's a good place for smallmouth bass. So I'm gonna grab my Ned rig rod. You know, whenever you go on a new fishing trip, always gotta catch the first fish to get the skunk off. So the other spot that I wanted to fish for panfish, for bait, for catfish, is currently getting beamed by the sun, and I didn't want to sit over there in the big sunlight. I did bring my shade tent, but I didn't want to set it up just yet. So we're gonna fish under the bridge, kill some time, let the sun set a little lower, and then right around that evening time, we'll try to go catch some bait. And then from there, nighttime is catfish time. Uh-oh. I think she's a goner. Yep, she's a goner. First casualty of the trip. It was bound to happen. It's a little snaggy, so I think I'm going to downsize. We're gonna tie on some crappie jigs instead of a Ned rig. We'll just throw this around. This is a 1/32 ounce chartreuse jig head with a Notorious custom jig on there, just a twin tail. Just like any other type of fishing that I do, I just tied the uni knot for my knots. I have pretty good luck with the uni knot, and it's just the easiest knot for me to tie. So that's why I always resort to it. The biggest thing that you want to do whenever you tie a knot is before you cinch it, just wet your line, whether with your mouth or water. Because if you don't wet your line, especially with mono and fluoro, before you cinch it, all that friction can damage your line. And when you go to set the hook, it's gonna break. Oh, that was so cool. I saw my jig right there, and I just saw something dark come out of nowhere, and I just couldn't see my chartreuse jig head anymore and just set the hook. I knew there was smallmouth in here, and as small as this guy is, he just choked it. Nice little smallmouth bass. All right, there you go, buddy. We'll call that spot a bust. Maybe it's just not the right time of day. But we're gonna move over to my primary spot that I had planned for this evening. It is 5:11, so I think by the time I get my little canopy tent set up and kind of settle down, I'm hoping it'll be perfect timing for us to catch some panfish. I just want some bait. Can't forget my keys. Gonna get locked out here. Water's as calm as it can be. Bunch of little minnows around. Hoping there's some bluegill in here. Appreciate the sacrifice, buddy. Simple setup. This is our bait fishing setup. So ultralight rod, just got a 500 size reel. I have 4-pound mono from my little bobber to a split shot weight to my size 10 bait holder hook and a piece of red worm. I sure hope there's a bluegill waiting for us. I just need one fish for catfish bait tonight. This sun is beaming. And many times when you come out here, especially during the summer, it's usually that first light and last light when you have the most activity from fish. So right now it's so hot, I don't really expect to be getting any bites. But hopefully, if it doesn't pan out right now, once the sun starts to set, hopefully the panfish start coming out and I can catch a fish. I wasn't planning on setting this thing up this early, but I'm not gonna stand here and get roasted in the sun for 3-4 hours. Bobber down. Oh, I think it's just a bunch of little fish. Nope. When I said little fish, I meant like the fish that weren't big enough to bite the hook. Might be a smallmouth. Nope, that's a bluegill. That's exactly what we're looking for. That's a big bluegill. Sun has officially gone down behind the hill. This area right here has shaded out, and I've noticed as soon as the shade hit the water, these fish became a lot more active. So we got a bluegill, choked it. I'm just happy that we have a good chunk of bait for our catfish. So now I'm gonna throw them in the water for now, and I need to go and get my cooler ready. Just need some water for my bluegill. That little guy should be all right in there. I just need to keep him alive for now so that he doesn't start rotting immediately. There was a bunch of fish surfacing over here. That's why I casted my bobber over here and I caught that bluegill. It's died off right now. But I would think that it's all these bluegills just coming up to the surface and picking up these flies that have landed on the surface of the water. Oh, bobber down. I missed them. I think it's a lot of these little guys that come and just grab that tail that's hanging off the hook, and I don't get them. Oh, bobber down. Fish on. Good fighter. Either a smallie or a bluegill. I can't really tell, but it's a good fighter. Granted, my setup is an ultralight setup. These are big bluegill. These are some of the biggest bluegills I've caught down here on the Snake. Our mosquito bites are itching like crazy. Well, the good thing about these bluegills, oh my gosh, this guy swallowed it. The good thing about these bluegills is that we don't catch a catfish, I can at least keep a couple of these and fry them up. Nice one. Throw them in there. And it's perfect because my worm is still fully intact. This guy's already pretty much toast, so we're gonna end him and use him as catfish bait. Just gonna cut him up into smaller sizes so that we can use multiple pieces of his body for bait. So not the prettiest piece of bait, but catfish don't really care. I wanted all the guts in here to give extra scent to lure catfish into my bait. Just got a circle hook here. And then once again, just my typical 3-way rig. Fish or no fish, it's so peaceful to be out here. I mean, just look at this. Water is like glass, dead calm. Everything's quieting down. It's nice and cool out. Wouldn't trade this for anything else. I was planning to fish here till pitch black, but it's been so dead. So I'm gonna move over to where I'm gonna camp for tonight. And where I'm camping, it's a much smaller stretch of water. So I'm hoping I catch some catfish roaming through. It should be getting right around to prime time by the time I get over there. This ground is super hard, but got it down. Much smaller creek. I stopped by here earlier, so it is definitely not as bright as the drone shot right now, but this is just a runoff from the main river. And so I figured maybe some channel catfish have made their way into this little pool. I don't think it's very deep at all, but we're just gonna give it a shot. So toss downstream. And again, this is only like maybe 20, 30 yards wide. So if the catfish are in here, that means they don't have too much room to run past my bait. It's pretty shallow, so throw this in the rod holder, reel in some slack. And since it's dark now, this bell will come in clutch. I'm debating if I should have put a new piece of bluegill on there. I still have that lower piece of the bluegill, of its gill, on here. So it is 9:18 p.m. I think I'll give it till 9:40. And if I don't get bit with this piece of bluegill, I'm gonna swap it out for a different piece of bait. Still part of the bluegill, but just a different piece. That's a fish on. That's a fish on. We got one, boys. We got one. Got one. Feels like a good one. It's a channel cat for sure. Try to turn on all these lights so we can see. Oh, channel cat for sure. Unless it's a big old bowhead. It's already right here at the shoreline. That's a good channel. At least I think that's a channel. Yep. Not a big one, but it's a channel. All right, do I just flip them what do I do here? I don't know how good I have him hooked. I think he's barely hooked. But it's a steep embankment everywhere. Oh, we caught one. Okay. I'm trying to see how. All right, YOLO. We got him. Yes. Put him on the grass. Yes. Oh, he popped right off too. See, he wasn't hooked very good, but I'm glad he popped off up here. We caught ourselves a channel cat. Oh, that's a perfect eater right there. A young one. Got one on the stringer. Just gonna toss him down here for now. So earlier, there's this tree over here. I got my first hit over there, and then it was dead. So I cast it right in front of me, just right in the middle, and that's where I caught mine. So I'm just gonna fling this thing back out to the same spot. That might be a little bit too far out, and just leave it there. I am just so happy that we got the one channel catfish that we're after. I have been trying my best to refrain from turning on any sort of light, because anytime I do that, all the bugs swarm in and it's just like horrible. But right now, I'm the only person here and it is so peaceful. For many folks and me, when I was younger, whenever I was out fishing or hunting in the mountains or by the river like I am right now, as soon as it got dark, you kind of wanted to hop in the tent or hop into the truck. Now it's just, I'm out here in the pitch black by myself, and my mind is just at peace. Like, this is where I want to be. Catfish is still on. Nice. What a beautiful looking specimen right there. Perfect eater into the cooler. Close this up. Let's get out of here. Keys. Time to go find a spot to crash. Catfish is still alive. It's late morning. I was planning to wake up a lot earlier, but I was so tired, I didn't want to get up. So last night, I pulled up to this random campground. There's a little inlet right over here that flows in from the river. I can't be lazy though, and I need to put my sleeping bag away. I'm just happy it's not as hot as it can be. I know the Snake can be very, very hot, but we got lucky, and I think today's only in the high 80s. Some days you come down here when it's like high 90s, even 100. It's like you don't even want to move. Last night I pulled up and I was like, I don't need my sleeping bag. It shouldn't be cold. Woke up at 3 o'clock this morning and I had that chill on my body. And I was like, man, I can man up and just survive the rest of the night. Stayed up for another 30 minutes and I was like, I need to get my sleeping bag. So I came out of the truck just to grab my sleeping bag. Then after that, slept like a baby. I stopped by just to look at this little inlet, if you will. And I keep seeing some fish come to the surface. See, they're swirling right there. Right there. All those ripples right there, those are those fish. They're biting something. I think it might be pike minnow. See, there's like 10 of them. Right here. Oh, I failed that cast. There's like 10 of them. They're right next to me. Come on. They're blown up right by my bobber. They're not taking the worm though. All right, they're chasing. So I'm gonna see if I can't go grab one of my little curly tail grubs. I found what I could in my little tackle box. I got a Roadrunner. It's a jig head with the little blade on the bottom. And I just threw on one of these pink curly tail grubs. It just seems like these fish right here, whatever they are, they're chasing and they're not wanting the worm. So I'm just wanting a piece of lure to move so that we can initiate an action strike if that's what these fish are wanting. See, they're like crazy right there. This thing swims a little funny. They're still here. I still see them. That's a fish on, right there. We might have found something. I don't know what it is. It's a pike minnow probably, or a bass. What is that? Oh, it's a bass. Don't go under there, no. Don't go under the log, thank you. Okay, I don't think it's bass that are schooling. I just caught this guy out of luck. But hey, these Roadrunners that my dad has had in the storage for like 20 plus years, still working. Nice little smallmouth. I'm convinced that these fish swimming around are pike minnow though, so not the target species. Oh, what are those? Wait a minute. I don't know if those are pike minnow. Oh, he came. What? Another bass? Is this the same bass I just released? Come on, brother. Nope, different one. But hey, at least we know where these little bass are. Just another little bass. Okay, I don't know what these fish right here are. They look like a shad and a pike minnow hybrid. Oh, see? They're right there. Come on. Come on. You guys see my lure. I know you guys do. What are they biting? Another smallie. Man, these smallmouth are stacked in here under all these log jams. This is a good one. Do you want to join the catfish and the fish fry, buddy? Oh my goodness, there's so many bass. I'm fighting this guy and I just saw 2 other bass come out with him. Ooh. Dude, these logs are a pain. Smallmouth just fights so good. This is actually a very nice bass. Look at him. Oh, not a bad bass. These bass are hugging these trees and they're like not letting whatever these other fish are take my Roadrunner. Oh my goodness, these bass are ferocious. might have to do some bass culling here. Like those fish right there are swimming right by my Roadrunner and they don't care. Oh, he snapped off my Roadrunner. Back in the game. Oh, those are shad. Those are shad. That makes complete sense because I thought they were pike minnow, but they didn't look like pike minnow. At least their heads didn't look like pike minnow. And it explains why they're not hitting this. Because it's a bunch of shad. It's a school of like 30 shad. Oh, a bass just missed me. Okay, that confirms it. I just wanted to at least know what they were because that was bugging me. It's a bunch of shad. If it's only shad, I'm okay. I just got hit. This bass just spit up a little minnow. Smallies are so fun to fight. Now we can have fun with the smallies. Now that we know what those fish are. Tied on another Roadrunner. This time it's a white one with a white curly tail. Nice little bass. Oh, that's a crappie. We just caught a crappie. This guy is perfect sturgeon bait. If I had all my sturgeon fishing stuff and I just caught this guy, I would have gone sturgeon fishing, but it's his lucky day. He's just hugging that little log. As soon as I hit the water, came out and crushed it. This catfish is gone. He's out. So when it comes to catfish, you can often tell that it's a young catfish because of these spots. So these spots right here on their body are kind of like the spots of like a fawn deer or like a calf elk. So the younger the catfish is, the more spots they have. The older they get, the more mature they get, these spots start disappearing. The other thing that you have to be aware of when it comes to catfish is their two pectoral fins, this fin right here and this fin right here, and their dorsal fin, which is the fin on top. All three of these fins right here, they have a spiny ray right here that can poke you. So when you're handling a catfish, live catfish, and they're like flailing around, if this thing pokes you, it'll sting a little bit. This knife that I have, the blade is very stiff, so it's not really a good fillet knife, but I ain't got no other options. You can make catfish head soup or any type of soup that you want, but I'm gonna just fillet this. So pretty simple, cut behind the head, follow the spine, and then just slowly cut the skin, and then just slowly cut the bones away from the meat. And the thing with catfish is, as big as they are, they're a little deceiving because their bellies are big, but the meat you get off around that belly area is very small. They just got a fat stomach, just not a lot of meat. So basically, once I come around the side of the rib cage right here, it's pretty much done. Very similar to a burbot. Burbot and catfish have essentially the same body type. So that's one slab of meat. Again, just meat off the tail and then just go over the rib cage. One thing with catfish you don't ever want to do is you don't want to puncture the guts. If you puncture the guts and that stuff gets on your meat, you pretty much just tainted your meat, which is not what you want to do. Got my 2 catfish fillets here. And for the seasoning, I just used Johnny seasoning. Got some asparagus here that I will throw in the cast iron after I cook my 2 fillets. That's my brunch. I also brought some Idahoan potatoes, but looking at this right here, I think that's plenty for a lunch's portion. This catfish meat is really oily. I don't think I've ever seen such catfish meat as oily as this fish right here. That's some beautiful looking meat. It's falling apart. Asparagus looks ready to roll. 11:23, brunch time. So pretty simple stuff. Filleted my catfish, Johnny seasoning, right there. Threw in my asparagus afterwards, and also Johnny seasoning. Johnny's seasoning salt, I should specify, not the pepper one. It's been a while since I've had catfish, so I'm pretty excited to eat it. I'm just happy that we actually caught a catfish. Channel catfish are actually one of my arch nemesis. I just struggle catching them, but hopefully this is the start of that upward slope where I can start catching them. So I'm excited, but let's say a prayer and we can eat. Father God, I thank you for allowing me this opportunity today and yesterday to come out here to enjoy creation. Thank you for all the hands that helped put this food in front of me today, but most importantly, thank you for your son, Jesus Christ, who bore my sin on that cross and died on that cross and rose 3 days later to conquer death. We thank you, we love you. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. So before we get going, sparkling ice. You know, it's been a while since I've done a catch and cook where I get to drink sparkling ice. I wish it was ice cold, but room temperature sparkling ice is better than no ice or no sparkling ice. So this catfish right here is really oily. I don't know what it is. Maybe this catfish is just simply really healthy. So if you never had catfish, this is pretty much what it looks like, just white meat. And again, that's just oil, not from the oil that I cooked it with, but the meat, when I was just processing it, it actually had a lot of oily stuff on it. So I tried my best to take it off, but I think it's just ingrained in the meat. That's good, love it. It's a little cold because I had to cook the asparagus afterwards. But good old catfish. With that, I think that will wrap it up for this episode. Just a quick bonsai overnighter trip down here on the Snake River. One of my favorite places to fish. Again, this is the river that I grew up on, so I love venturing down here. It just hits different. I appreciate you watching. See you in the next one.